Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be going through how you can write copy for your email marketing, whether you're a coach, small brand, service provider, any size of brand pretty much, how you should actually structure your copy to make it compelling, actually sound like a brand, and separate yourself from the rest of everybody else. So I'm going to be going through like the core principles, things you need to keep in mind when you come to write your emails. And the first thing that people need to understand is you need to speak to people as if they are people. Sounds pretty obvious, but there's a lot of brands and a lot of people that do make this mistake, as they are focused mainly down the AI route, which I'll be discussing in a little while as well. So the most important rule is to make sure your marketing feels like you're actually talking to a real human. So obviously your subscribers, anyone that is on your list, is obviously going through some sort of process with your brand or service. And these are actually people that have obviously got objections, things like this, day-to-day lives, challenges, whatever it may be. So we need to speak to them as in all these stages and as if they are actually a real human being. When you're writing your emails, you want to have the ultimate goal that you're having a conversation with a friend. So as I'm sure you're aware, most marketing seems very perfect. You know, they have all these models, professionally shot images, whatever it may be, perfect bit of text. And in the most part, this doesn't relate to people's day-to-day lives, as, you know, people do have problems going on. People do, you know, have busy lives, whatever it may be. So by speaking to them as if they're a human, relating to their problems, whatever it may be, this really does help, you know, relate to your brand and become someone they can actually read and understand and relate to. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, will AI replace copywriters? In my opinion, I don't think AI will replace them right away. Potentially in years to come, it might get a little bit more advanced and understand the human language. However, if we really want to separate ourselves from every other brand, completely relying on AI is really not going to do you any advantages. So the way we actually use AI in our agency is mainly for ideation and brainstorming. So as I'm sure you're aware, ChatGPT, Claude AI, whatever it may be you use, you can brainstorm ideas very, very quickly, and it can often come up with ideas that you're not going to think of straight off the bat. And then from there, you want to grow on these ideations and keep scaling them. So the effect this does, obviously, it speeds things up, keeps it a lot simpler, and it also does actually help with creation, because when you're sitting there, you do often get like creator's block, things like this, and AI is a way to blast through this. It's really good to use as a starting point as well. I wouldn't say it's good to use for the finished product, because every time you try and refine it, it's going to make it sound as if it's not a conversation. It's going to be too perfectly written. And again, it just sounds very, very robotic. So what we do for this is, even if we actually using it to create copy, so how we actually create the copy is we actually have our team of copywriters that use AI. And then what they'll do is they'll take the ideation or whatever the copy may be, and it'll all get reworded and have the personalized touch and rewritten pretty much. So you've kind of saved the time of writing it, ideation, and then all it is just the final touches to make it look nice and neat. I do think for brands especially, there's something I've really been noticing, especially with looking at brands' consistent emails and obviously auditing different brands. When you're solely relying on AI, you can see like a repetitive strain of the same words used, the same phrases used, and it generally does just sound like a broken record. Although the ideation is different, the background and like the base layer of text is pretty much all the same. So I would really focus on just using it for your ideation, as over time, especially with something like email that's going to be repetitive, if your brand is selling one product, for example, even if it's just clothes, your brand is going to be repeating the same thing over and over again. So we need to make sure that we're doing the best we can to make it personalized, make it authentic, and obviously relate to our audience. So yeah, a few of these points here, unique perspectives as well, you know, quirks and characters. You want to make sure that your text is on brand and things like this. So yeah, winning formula, AI and human creativity. It's going to be faster and it's going to give you better results. And not only that, it's going to separate you from your competitors. As if your competitors are just using AI, eventually it's going to get boring and people aren't going to be resonating with it as much. But if you're doing it with a human touch, you're definitely going to be miles ahead. So in the rest of the video, we're going to be breaking down everything which is involved in an email. So even if you're a service provider or selling a course, whatever it may be, even for the brands, subject line, preview text, subheader and header and subheader, body copy, and call to action, they're all going to be relevant no matter what you are selling with your emails. Before we get into any of these points, the main thing we need to understand before we start writing out is understanding your audience. And you can do this with AI as well. So you can go and ChatGPT, ask, you know, kind of what pain problems, why people would buy it, reasons to purchase it, reasons not to purchase it, where they shop, how old they are. Really just want to understand the basic demographics. So when you're talking, you know who you're talking to. So you don't want to be relating something that teenagers are into when your target audience is, you know, 30s, 40s, 50s. It's going to be completely different. So we need to understand if we're actually sending the right message. This is a good one here as well. So what keeps them awake at night, what are their aspirations, languages, whatever it may be. So the main thing we need to understand about our audience is their needs, their pain points, and their purchase behavior. So as mentioned, doing a full buyer persona. Even if you have an existing audience, you can send out a form, kind of seeing a consumer survey form, and just get some feedback on why they're purchasing from you, what's put them off purchasing, why they haven't bought again, price points, whatever it may be. And then you can kind of get like a really good demographic, and it's going to be more accurate because they're actually your existing customers or they're actually on your email list. Another point we need to make clear as well is every email needs to have a clear objective. I mention this in all my videos I create near enough. Every email has a narrative or an objective that you need to be pushing, and you need to make sure it's clear from the get-go. Usually I separate this up into like 3 or 4 columns. So number 1 would be driving traffic to your website. So that is literally just getting clicks through to the website. Another one would be a sale. Another one would be sharing valuable content. So even if it's like reviews, social proof, anything like this. And lastly would be nurturing relationships. So this could be exactly like the form, asking for feedback, asking for reviews, things like this, and encouraging people to react back with you or even reply. So if you just break it down in 3 points, what's the definition? What's the goal? So you keep trying to get people on your site, trying to build trust, trying to share value, whatever it may be. Crafting the message to make sure it supports the goal of the email, and then making sure the results work. So obviously when you're sending these campaigns out, making sure that if you're trying to drive traffic to the site, or your click-through is good. If you're trying to nurture relationships, is your reply rate good? So these are the things you want to be looking at just to measure results. And then we also want to be making sure that you fully understand your brand. So even if you're another agency, marketer, or even for your own brand, you need to make sure your brand voice is consistent all throughout. So same on all your ads, same on all your product pages, social media the same, emails the same, making sure that you're using like the same languages, you've got the same kind of tone, everything like this. So when a subscriber keeps seeing all of your touch points, so like ads, emails, product pages, whatever it is, they understand what your brand's about, and they actually can start building up like a repetition about it all. So if you're just doing completely different things randomly all the time, it's not really going to be helping your brand at all. We also want to be making sure that we are personalizing our emails to some shape or form. So this doesn't necessarily mean like, name, birthday, age, whatever it is. You can just be doing it off their interest as well. So if you know from like their past behavior, what they've been interested in, so if they've bought football boots, they could be interested in buying footballs, whatever it could be. Using the name is quite good, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's as powerful as it used to be, because I'm pretty sure most people know that it's all automated nowadays and the personalized touch isn't really as it used to be, but you can personalize it based off behavior. So you can be doing this by segmenting your list, everything like this. You could be segmenting for gender, things like that. But in the grand scheme of things, you want to keep it broad, and if your segments are too small, you're not going to get enough data back, and you're probably not going to be as effective. Your best bet would just be to market to a larger audience with, a really good offer and a brief bit of segmentation. We need to make sure our content is also readable. So sounds pretty obvious. We obviously want people to read it, but the way people consume and read nowadays has changed drastically when it comes to short form content. So people do just skim read. So they're going to be paying attention more to your graphics, more to your headlines, as opposed to the body and copy. So the more we can make it easier for people to read and skim read, the quicker you can get the value across, the better your copy is going to perform. So you don't want to be doing massive paragraphs, really big blocky text that people aren't going to sit and read, because it actually does get quite overwhelming if you click an email and you see something about 20, 30 paragraphs long, sentences long even, and you're like, I really can't be bothered to read this, so you click off and don't really pay attention. I'll kind of stick to the first couple of seconds rule. So as soon as you click that email, you probably got about 3 or 4 seconds before they give up and then they just move on to something else. So you really have to capture their attention as quick as possible, as people do find emails nuisance, and they will just delete you pretty quickly unless you're providing value or capturing their attention pretty quick. This is the number 1 key as well to writing your copy. People hate being sold to. People want to be lead themselves to the sale. They don't want to feel like someone's forcing the sale down on them. What I mean by this is you're just pressuring them to buy now, buy now, buy now. So how we do this is benefits and not features. So what I mean by this is a rough stat. 9 out of 10 people don't really care what your product's made from. If it's made from some super cotton or includes, 900 milligrams of vitamin XYZ, people don't really care what this is. They more care about the benefits that this is going to bring. So let's say, for example, this cotton's going to make you feel really soft, comfy, and cozy. So when you wear it at night, makes you relax, whatever it could be. This vitamin could make you feel a lot better in the mornings, make you wake up easier. So obviously your day is going to be more productive. These are the benefits as opposed to the features. People really don't care about the features. So making it relatable, this is literally just telling a story and connecting with your audience on a deeper level that other brands obviously aren't going to these depths. So this could literally be things like reviews, social proof, encouraging replies, so authentic validation. So they've seen your product used by people in the real world. So reviews and social proof is so great for this, because people are very skeptical. And when you start seeing human reviews, real people using things, it actually adds that level of clarity that it's actually worked for someone else in their position. Urgency as well, without being salesy. This is kind of a little bit salesy, but you're kind of leading people to purchase and make that action quicker. So by saying there's low stock, limited offers, so you could have 5 spots left on your coaching, giving it deadlines that are making people act quicker as that the fear of missing out, and the scarcity does just move people along pretty quickly. Down into the nitty gritty. So crafting a subject line that gets opened. Obviously, you have to take these points with a pinch of salt because everything's not going to be fitting for your brand. And these are just guidelines into how you can make something pop a little bit more for your brand. So we need to keep these things in mind. So grabbing attention, we want to be making sure that when people see the notification or it's in their inbox, they actually want to open it. Secondly, we want to personalize where possible, because if someone sees their name in the subject line, it'll be like, hey, Ryan, check out this discount. Kind of does make you want to click it. And you can use the RE method as well, which is pretty good. So let's say me and you going back and forward with an email sequence, it will say RE as if into reply. People think that they've just been in like a sequence of emails, so it does encourage opens. However, use it sparingly because you don't want people to, just become like accustomed to having these emails. We want to make sure it's as effective as possible. So how you can improve your subject lines is creating an alternative Google account. And I've literally done this for myself. I've got, as you can see, nearly 4,000 unread emails. And literally, this is me subscribed to so many different random brands. And it's really good because number one, you can see their designs. Number two, you can actually see what it looks like in the inbox full of random other stuff. So you can imagine this is your customer's inbox with random different brands in there. What emails stand out enough for you to click? And obviously, first of all, click. Second of all, interact. So this one here kind of caught my eye, it's back. So something's new, it's back. Flame emoji, don't miss out. So they've actually used everything there to bring people back in. Whereas some of these ones here, like big news for athletes, this is pretty good. The duck camo collar doesn't really provide much value in terms of anything like this. And then the email itself is pretty boring as well. So this is really good to help you level up your emails as a whole, but really this is good. I really like using it for subject lines so you can see how it really fits in your customer's inbox. Using emojis, these can really help you stand out in the inbox. So as you can see here, this one here stands out pretty well. So does that. Alarms stand out really well as well. These little love heart things for Valentine's, pretty good. Another one is the hourglass. This is really good as well. Hearts and stars, they really do capture like urgency, attention, everything like this. Preview text kind of leads on from subject line. This is kind of like a supplement to your subject line. So it just kind of reinforces anything you've mentioned in your subject line. So let's say you have a 20% sale on. You want this to be in your subject line, and then the extra information in the preview text could be sales ended in 24 hours, ended at midnight, whatever it could be. Really want to just reinforce whatever you've mentioned in your subject line. Also, the preview text wants to hint at what content's included in the email. So it really does help people open the email as well. So you could be hinting, find out this missing step in so-and-so email, whatever it could be to help you get opens. And there's a few other tips in here. So scarcity in the preview text as well is good. Personalize with names, teasing the main events, and then never leave it blank or use default text, because what it will do is it will show some of your text in the alt text from your emails from Klaviyo, for example. Header and subheader is literally your 10 seconds to fame. This is literally the split second you've got to capture their attention. So you need to make sure your header is big and bold, it's unmissable. There's no hidden agenda, so literally they need to click that email and already know what's going on in that email, giving them a reason to read on, capturing their attention, things like this. Make it eye-catching as possible, and it's literally impossible to ignore. And what I like to do as well is you can look at newspaper or magazine headlines and look what grabs your attention to that magazine. So go in your shop, literally as I put here, local shops, look at the papers, what draws your eye to that attention, so that magazine, for example. So you can start using these kind of phrases in your emails to grab as much attention as possible. Subheaders are very similar to the main header. They kind of just support what's going on there. Not every email is going to need one, but if you are running one, it just adds a bit of context. So it could be, you could be saying for example, welcome to our brand, here's 10% off, something like this. These kind of are just like a supplement to your header. So we come down to the main part of your email, which is the body. Usually this would be like a couple of paragraphs below your image, or if it's in a text-based email, obviously it's going to be the main bulk of things. So number one, we need to keep it digestible and use short paragraphs, bullet points as much as possible. So as I mentioned, we don't want big blocky paragraphs. We kind of want 2 to 3 sentences, because you can imagine on someone's mobile, 2 to 3 sentences is going to be a nice chunk like this. Whereas if you're sending a full-on paragraph, it's going to cover a lot of their screen. So people, they're having to cover a lot more ground to read as much and gain as much information from you as possible. So by keeping it short in that same space, they can understand a little bit more and have a bit more detail. Talk to their audience as if they're a person, not a faceless crowd. So again, personalization and make it not sound like a robot. Straight to the point, no fluff. Write as if you're having a conversation and make it scannable. These points all lead in together as well. So practical tips, break them into short chunks. Use subheadings as well. This is quite good. So if people see the subheading title and it's not really relevant to them, they can carry on reading through to the next point. So hopefully you can capture them on one of your subheaders. And this is really good to help people skim read through. Highlight key points with bold text, bullet points, images. They work really well as well. Short and punchy sentences, and read it out loud and see if it sounds natural. And then if not, rewrite it and go for it again. So this is a reminder as well. People are busy. Respect their time by making it a clear message. That way, the clearer your messages, people will keep coming back and consuming more. Call to actions. This is something I see a lot of brands make mistakes with because they try and reinvent the wheel. They're trying to get their next new call to action, which is going to work better for them. But really, you just want to keep it simple. One clear call to action is going to be better than multiple options because you don't want to add as much friction, making it harder for people to choose, right, I want this option, I want to do this, whatever. So just be straight, direct to the point, keep it specific, tell them exactly what you want them to do. So you need to lead them from point A to point B, which is ultimately going to be a conversion on whatever your sale is. And make it obvious. These buttons need to be bold, visible, colorful, literally massive, so they can't miss out. Sounds pretty obvious, but you don't want to just use these basic ones down here. So click here, learn more. These kind of, although to many they sound pretty obvious, we can go into a little bit more depth and it will give people a reason to click through. So want to make sure that they have exactly what's going on when they click it. So here it will be like book your free 30-minute audit. So rather than just saying click here for your audit, there'll be a button that say book here for your 30-minute audit. So they've already included some value. They know what they're getting and they know what they need to do. Next one will be download the complete guide. So instead of saying learn more, when them saying download, so we know they need to download it and they're going to get a complete guide out of it. So literally you've just hit two stones in one head. Same again here, claim your 20% discount now. They know they're going to get a discount rather than saying shop now, whatever. And start your free trial today. So instead of saying start now or click here, they know they're going to get a free trial and they can start right now by clicking this button. Really, we're just actually directing them straight from point A to point B. With that conclusion, hopefully you've understood a little bit more about how you can write copy for your brand. And if there's something you're struggling with, feel free to book in a completely free audit as well using the link below. If not, it will be in this document that I will leave in the description as well. So feel free to subscribe for more, like this video, and we'll catch you on the next video as well. So thank you.